The rain fell hard on the metal streets of Drake 7, a cold alien world where most humans avoided going alone. But Daniel, a young human traveler, didn't care. He was tired, cold, and looking for a warm place to sleep. His boots splashed in the puddles as he walked past a large alien hospital. The lights were still on, and strange alien nurses moved inside. He was about to keep walking when he heard something. A sound. A soft, weak cry. He stopped. It came from behind the building. Daniel turned his head, listening carefully. It sounded like a voice, not loud, just a small whimper, like someone in pain. Curious, Daniel walked slowly around the side of the building. There was no one there at first. Just trash bins, broken boxes, and the stinking smell of old medicine. Then he saw her, a small body, thin, covered in rags and mud, lying in the shadows. He blinked. At first he thought she was dead, but then she moved, just a little. A small shake, a breath. Daniel rushed forward and knelt beside her. She wasn't human. Her skin was a soft silver blue, and her hair was long and messy, stuck to her face. She had strange tattoos on her arms that looked like codes. Her eyes were closed, and her breathing was shallow. She was barely alive. He noticed something tied around her wrist, a hospital tag. It had a name printed in alien letters and a red mark. DNR, no recovery. Daniel frowned. Did they just throw her away? He looked back at the hospital building. No one was coming. No one even cared. Anger burned in his chest. He had heard rumors. Some alien hospitals didn't treat patients who were too weak or too poor. They just disposed of them quietly, behind the building like trash. Daniel touched her shoulder gently. Hey. Can you hear me? Her lips moved. A whisper came out. Cold. That was enough. Daniel took off his jacket and wrapped it around her small body. He looked around, then carefully lifted her into his arms. She was light, too light, like she hadn't eaten in days. He carried her through the rain, walking back to the front of the hospital. The doors opened with a hiss, and the warm air hit his face. Inside, glowing alien machines buzzed and beeped. A few nurses turned to look at him, then looked away when they saw the girl in his arms. He walked straight to the front desk. I found her behind your building, Daniel said. She's still alive. You need to help her. The nurse, a tall, green-scaled creature with glowing eyes, didn't even get up. She glanced at the tag on the girl's wrist. That unit was discharged. She is beyond repair, the nurse said flatly. Discharged? Daniel snapped. You left her to die in the dirt. She was marked non-recoverable. Treatment would waste resources. Our policies are clear. Daniel's hands clenched. She's not a machine. She's alive. The nurse blinked slowly. That is not our concern. He looked around. Every staff member ignored him. The girl in his arms gave another weak shiver. He couldn't believe it. A hospital that refused to save someone still breathing. I'll take her somewhere else, he muttered. Daniel turned and stormed out of the hospital. The cold air hit him again, but this time he didn't feel it. Where could he take her? He tried another clinic nearby. Same answer. Too weak. Not worth saving. Then someone tapped his shoulder. Daniel turned to see an old alien man selling street food from a small stand. The man looked at the girl in his arms, then nodded toward a dark alley. There's an old vet, the man whispered. He helps things, others don't, no questions asked. A vet? Daniel asked, surprised. You mean for animals? The old man nodded. Try him. It's better than letting her die. Daniel looked down at the girl. Her face was pale, lips shaking. She was slipping away. He nodded. Thank you. He ran toward the alley the old man pointed to. At the end, he saw a small door with faded letters above it. Dr. Gorin, Exotic Veterinary Services. Daniel banged on the door with his elbow, still holding the girl tight. No answer. He banged again. Please, she's dying. The door creaked open slowly. A large alien with thick fur and a tired face looked out. "What is it?" The vet growled. Daniel stepped forward. "She needs help." "No one else will. Please. Just look at her." The vet looked down at the girl, and for the first time that night, someone didn't look away. His eyes narrowed. He stepped aside. "Bring her in." Asterisk. The table wasn't meant for her. It was made for animals clawed, feathered, or scaled. But now, an alien girl lay on it, trembling and unconscious, while strange scanners moved over her body. Dr. Gorin, the vet, had seen many strange creatures in his long life. Injured war beasts, sick alien pets, and even hybrid failures. But this girl? "She's not even fully organic," he muttered, looking at the monitor. "Her blood, there's something wrong." "Something added." Daniel stood beside the table, soaked in rain, jacket dripping onto the floor. His eyes stayed fixed on her face. "What do you mean added?" he asked. The vet's thick hands adjusted the machine. "She's been changed, modified. Her cells are fighting each other. Whoever did this, they weren't healing her. They were testing her." Daniel felt cold again, colder than the rain. Why would someone do that? The vet didn't answer. Instead, he pulled a small glowing shard from her neck. It was buried under her skin, almost invisible. An implant, still blinking, still active. "This is military tech," the vet said slowly, "but not alien. This is human-made." Daniel stepped back. "What? That's impossible." "Is it?" Gorin looked at him, eyes hard. "You said you're human, right? Then maybe you should ask your own people what they were doing to her." Daniel didn't know what to say. He'd saved her because no one else would. But now he wasn't sure what he'd saved. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the sky stayed dark. Inside, the air buzzed with tension. "She needs real care," Daniel said at last. "Not just bandages and patches." Gorin scoffed. "And where do you suppose we get that? Every medical center in this city already marked her for death. She's a ghost to them." Daniel clenched his fists. "There must be someone. Anyone." Gorin paused, then gave a crooked smile. "There's always someone, kid. But they don't help for free." Daniel tried anyway. He carried a blurry hollow photo of the girl, walking from one building to another, begging for help. He tried private clinics, back alley healers, even illegal cyber-docs. Each one took one look at the image, then turned their backs. "She's tagged, red-listed. If we touch her, we get shut down. She's too far gone, not worth the risk. No money, no care." Some didn't even bother giving a reason. Just slammed the door. By the end of the night, Daniel had walked for hours. His legs ached. His voice was hoarse, and no one not one soul was willing to help. Back at the vet's clinic, the girl began to twitch. Gorin placed more thermal patches on her skin, adjusted her bag, and watched her carefully. "She's strong," he said under his breath. "Too strong to die like this." Daniel returned, face pale from exhaustion. They all said no. "I figured," Gorin said. "So what now?" The vet looked at the girl again. "Now we do something risky." Daniel stepped closer. "What do you mean?" "She's not just sick," the vet explained. "She's poisoned by design. Her systems are crashing because someone built them to fail slowly. A test subject, a disposable one." Daniel's heart dropped. "She was never meant to survive?" Gorin nodded. "Exactly. But if we can stop the spread, maybe, just maybe, she'll have a chance." Daniel nodded slowly. "Then let's do it." As they prepared the treatment, a mix of alien medicine, illegal tech, and emergency procedures, Daniel looked at the girl again. He didn't even know her name. He didn't know her story, but something inside him said, she deserves a chance, not because she was strong, not because she was special, but because no one else thought she was worth saving. Later that night, the room was quiet. Machines beeped softly. The glow of the vet's tools lit up the shadows. Then her eyes opened, not wide, not clear, but open. Daniel leaned forward. Hey, it's okay. You're safe. Her lips parted, dry, weak. She whispered one word. Why? Daniel blinked. Why what? Why, help me. He swallowed hard. Because you're alive, that's enough. Her eyes closed again. A single tear rolled down her cheek, but she was still breathing, still fighting. Asterisk. Asterisk, she screamed without sound. Inside her mind, bright lights flashed. Cold metal wrapped her arms. Needles stabbed her skin. Voices spoke in broken code commands, numbers, no kindness, and then warmth. Something soft touched her face. A hand. The nightmare faded. Lyra opened her eyes slowly, still weak, but awake. She was no longer in the dirt. No longer outside the hospital. The cold was gone. Someone had brought her back. Her vision was blurry, but she saw him. A human, sitting by her side, his head resting on the bed. He had fallen asleep watching over her. On the other side of the room, Dr. Gorin stared at the latest scan. His claws trembled as he leaned closer. This can't be real. He zoomed in again. Her blood cells were split. Not by accident, but by design. Human blood had been mixed with something else. Alien cells grafted in. Nerve endings cut and reconnected in strange ways. Bone density was 3 times the normal amount, yet her muscles were thin. She was modified, Gorin whispered. Not born like this, built. He ran a heat scan. Her core temperature didn't match any known species. She's a hybrid. No, something even more complicated. Then, he noticed a glowing pulse behind her heart. It wasn't organic. It was a power cell, small, round, and pulsing blue. He blinked. Why does she have a power source inside her chest? The vet wasn't the kind of person who got scared easily. But now he stepped back. This girl wasn't an animal. She wasn't. Even a normal alien, she was a secret. A dangerous one. Daniel woke up to the sound of beeping. He rubbed his eyes and looked over. Lyra was watching him. Her eyes were dim, but she was awake. He smiled. Hey, you're alive. She opened her mouth but coughed. Her throat was dry. He quickly helped her drink some water. You're safe now. You're at a clinic, a vet, actually. But he's good. She looked around slowly. Why? You were dying. No one wanted to help. But I couldn't leave you. Lyra's lips trembled. They left me like garbage. I know, Daniel said softly. But not everyone thinks you're trash. She held the cup tightly. I didn't want to die. I'm glad you didn't. Dr. Gorin entered the room, holding a small scanner. He looked at Lyra closely now, not like a patient, but like a puzzle. Do you remember anything? He asked her. She stared at him. Pain, needles, voices in helmets, metal rooms, tests. Do you know who did this to you? Lyra closed her eyes. I don't know their faces, but their smell. Their voices, human. Daniel froze. No. That's not possible, Gorin nodded. I checked her body. Implants, human-made tech. Mixed DNA. She's part human. Daniel looked at Lyra again, this time differently. She had soft features, but her ears were sharp, her fingers long. Her back had small ridges under the skin, like folded wings or armor. What was she made for? He asked. Gorin frowned. That's what scares me. That night, Lyra fell asleep again. Her body still needed time. But her healing was stable now. Daniel sat with Gorin in the back room, drinking hot blackroot tea. You said she has a power core inside her? Daniel asked. Yes, it's not a weapon. More like a survival booster. If her body starts failing, the core sends energy to keep her alive. Daniel sighed. So they built her to be unkillable? Not unkillable, Gorin said. Just harder to kill, like a prototype. Daniel leaned forward. Prototype for what? Goran's eyes were serious. War, outside the clinic. A small insect drone flew past the window, its lens focused on Lyra's face. Through the glass dot it buzzed once, then flew away into the night. Far across the city, a screen lit up. Target, located. Asterisk, the dream didn't feel like a dream. Lyra floated in black space. Cold wires hugged her arms and legs. Above her, a ceiling of blinding lights. Around her, shadows spoke in numbers. Test 43 failed again. She should have died 12 hours ago. She's resisting. Pain came next. A fire in her chest. Her bones cracked, healed, cracked again. Then suddenly she woke up gasping. Daniel jumped. Easy, you're okay, you're safe. Lyra's silver eyes were wide, her skin covered in sweat. She looked around the vet's clinic like it was the first time seeing it. No more labs? She whispered. No labs, Daniel said softly. Just this room, just us. She pressed a hand to her chest. I felt them, like they're still inside me. Daniel exchanged a look with the vet, Dr. Goran, who stood near the machine that had scanned her organs. Maybe they are. Goran muttered. The scan results were on full display. Daniel stared at them, not understanding the alien symbols, but knowing one thing for sure. Her body wasn't natural. Her bones were laced with some kind of flexible metal. Her nerves carried two types of signals, normal electric, and something else, like energy pulses. Inside her chest, behind her heart, sat a small dark sphere, like a sleeping machine. What is that? Daniel asked. Goran replied quietly. It's an organic memory vault. Illegal tech. They stored something inside her body. Not just implants, information. Daniel blinked. She's carrying data? Not just data, possibly weapons research, tactical maps, genetic keys. I've never seen anything like it. Daniel looked at Lyra, who was resting again. Her breathing was slow, calm. Did she even know? He asked. No, Goran said. And whoever made her didn't plan for her to survive this long. They just dumped her when she became unstable. Daniel felt a sick knot in his chest. They used her like a container, a test tube. Worse, Goran said. Like a box to carry secrets, and now those secrets are waking up. That night, Daniel sat next to Lyra while she slept. A quiet hum came from the machines, and a soft blue light glowed from inside her skin. He watched her, thinking, who are you really, and why did they leave you behind? Suddenly, the blue light flickered, just once. A monitor buzzed. Lines of alien code flashed across the screen. Unknown, untouched, hidden deep inside her. Then the screen turned black and showed something shocking. A map, coordinates, a hidden lab location. And one word, activate. Daniel stared, eyes wide. Goran, he called. Come look at this. The vet rushed over and froze. That's a command trigger, he said. Something inside her just responded. Daniel looked back at Lyra. She's waking up, not just her body but what's inside. Moments later, Lyra stirred. Her eyes opened again, clearer this time. I remember. Pieces, she whispered. Pain, cold floors, screaming. Then, a light, something I wasn't supposed to see. Daniel leaned in. What did you see? She looked at him, and for a moment, the fear in her face changed. Children, she whispered. Other test subjects. Smaller than me, still in cages, crying. Daniel felt his stomach twist. They're still out there. I think so, she said, unless they've been erased. Goran looked serious. If this data inside her is connected to that facility, then yes, someone will come to silence her. Daniel stood up. Then we don't wait. Goran blinked. What? We find that lab. We find those kids if they're alive. We end whatever did this to her. Lyra sat up slowly. Her voice was weak but strong. Then I'm going with you. Across the city, in a dark tower, red lights glowed. A figure in a military coat stared at a screen showing Lyra's image from the insect drone. Subject 43 is active. The voice said, she cannot be allowed to remember everything. A new order was issued. Send the erasers. Asterisk, the rain never stopped on DRAYX-7. It was like the planet itself was always crying. And tonight, under the endless drizzle, Lyra stood for the first time without shaking. Her legs were weak, but her eyes were steady. She stepped outside the vet's clinic, wrapped in Daniel's jacket, and looked up at the dark sky. I remember now, she whispered. Why they hurt me. Inside, Daniel watched her from the doorway. She shouldn't be moving yet, said Dr. Goran. Her body's still healing. She needs air, Daniel replied. And maybe the truth. Lyra returned inside after a while, her face wet not from rain, but from silent tears. She sat on the clinic table and looked at both of them. You deserve to know what I am, she said. Daniel pulled up a chair. Tell us, Goran crossed his arms. Start from the beginning. Whatever you remember. Lyra nodded slowly. I was not born with a name, she began. I was taken when I was very small, too small to fight back. My family, I don't even remember their faces. She closed her eyes. They brought me to a white room, cold, bright. Other children were there, alien kids, hybrids. All quiet, all afraid. Goran leaned in. Who brought you there? I thought they were aliens at first, she said. But one day, a man spoke in a human voice. I didn't know the words then, but later, I learned. Daniel's jaw tightened. Humans ran the lab? Lyra nodded. They were building something, soldiers, survivors, beings who could live through any world, any war. They used alien bodies, human tech. They mixed us together like clay and metal. She looked down at her hands. I was Subject 43. That was my only name. Daniel felt sick. They hurt us to see how much pain we could take. Froze us to test cold limits. Burned our skin. Filled our blood with things that changed our minds. Lyra touched her chest. They put memories inside me. Codes, maps, locations I never asked for. All buried in my body. She looked at Daniel. I didn't survive because I was lucky. I survived because they wanted to see how long I could last before breaking. Goran sat down, his voice heavy. And when they thought you were broken, they dumped you outside the hospital. Lyra gave a small, bitter laugh. Yes, one of them whispered it when I passed out. She's finished. Throw her out. Mark. Her DNR. Daniel clenched his fists. That's why they didn't help. They knew what she was, and they were part of it. They erased the records, Goran added. But they forgot one thing. She didn't die. Suddenly, a loud buzz rang from the console. Goran rushed to check. What is it? Daniel asked. The screen showed a warning. Someone had triggered a search for Lyra's life signal. They're tracking her. Goran said. Whoever did this, they know she's alive. Lyra's eyes narrowed. They're not coming to talk. They're coming to erase me. Daniel stepped forward. Then we run right now. No, Lyra said firmly. I won't run anymore. I need to find that lab. Save the others, if they're still alive. Daniel looked at her, this girl who had been weak, broken, discarded. Now she was standing. Now she had fire in her voice. You're not just Subject 43, Daniel said. You're Lyra, and we're not letting them win. Far away, inside a black transport ship, metal doors slid open. 5 armored soldiers stepped out. No faces, no names, only one mission. Erase Subject 43. No witnesses. Asterisk. It started with silence. No wind, no footsteps. No sound from the street. Then all the power in the clinic flickered once, then again. Dr. Goran looked up from his tools. That's not a storm. That's a signal block. Daniel reached for his jacket. They found us, didn't they? Lyra stood by the window, her silver eyes glowing faintly. She didn't answer. She didn't have to. Outside, through the rain, a black vehicle hovered to a stop, silent and sharp like a knife. Its surface didn't reflect light. Its passengers didn't speak. 5 soldiers stepped out, dressed in full armor black. Plates, red visors, no names, no ranks. Each carried a weapon meant for ending. Not warning. They weren't here to arrest anyone. They were here to erase. Inside the clinic, Goran locked the front door. That won't stop them. Daniel checked. The back already blocked by a dumpster. How long do we have? Lyra turned from the window. Her voice was calm. Not long enough, the monitors buzzed. Her heart rate was rising not from fear, but from activation. The hidden systems inside her were responding to the threat. A soft pulse glowed from under her skin again. They built me to survive enemies. Like them, she said. Now I understand why. Daniel looked at her. Then let's survive. The first soldier aimed at the DoorDash fired. Boom. The clinic wall shook, but didn't collapse. Plasma drill, Goran muttered. They'll be inside in 60 seconds. Daniel grabbed a metal rod from the tool rack. It wasn't much, but it was something. Goran loaded a dart gun with tranquilizer. Spikes meant for alien beasts. Lyra stood still, then she said something. Unexpected. Don't kill them, Daniel blinked. What? They came to kill you. She shook her head. They're not acting by choice. They're programmed. I can feel it. Feel it? Goran asked. The same signal that moves them. Used to move me. They're tools, just like I was. Daniel paused, then nodded. All right, we disable them. The first soldier breached the door, bursting into the hallway like a shadow. But before he could raise his weapon, crack, Daniel smashed the rod into his helmet, knocking him against the wall. The second soldier entered from the window, only to be hit by one of Goran's spikes. He dropped with a thud. The third soldier charged straight at Lyra, but she was ready. Her body moved before she thought. She ducked, spun, grabbed his arm, twisted and dropped him to the floor in one smooth motion. Her hands shook after. Not from fear, but from the memory of training she never remembered learning. I wasn't just tested, she whispered. I was trained. Only 2 soldiers remained. They circled the clinic. One climbed to the roof. Daniel saw his shadow through the ceiling vent. Above, Goran fired another dart, missed. The soldier dropped in, but Lyra leaped forward, tackling him before he landed. She pressed her hand against the side of his helmet. Her implant pulsed. Suddenly, the soldier froze. His suit powered down. Lights off. Daniel stared. What did you do? I sent a signal back through his system, she said. A shutdown code. One I didn't know I knew. Daniel shook his head in disbelief. You're turning into something else, he said. Something they didn't expect, she replied. The last soldier stood at the door, aiming at them all. He didn't rush. He spoke. Subject 43, you were not meant to survive. Lyra stepped forward. And yet here I am. The soldier raised his weapon, but just before he fired, Goran flipped the clinic's emergency gas valve. A burst of steam filled the hallway, blinding. Daniel dashed through the mist, tackled the last soldier, and jammed the metal rod into his power pack. Sparks flew. The soldier collapsed. It was over. For now, Lyra stood in the middle of the room, her chest glowing faintly, her eyes calm. They'll send more, Goran said, breathing hard. I know, she replied. Daniel looked at her. Then we hit back. First, Lyra nodded slowly. We go to the lab. We find the others, and we shut it all down. Far away. The man watching from the dark tower saw the mission report. Failure. He crushed the report in his hand. Prepare the Phase 2 weapon. If Subject 43 remembers everything, we won't be able to stop her. Asterisk. They thought she was a mistake. A failed project. A broken test subject. A body to throw away in the trash. But today she walked toward the place they tried to erase from. Her memory. Daniel stood beside her. His hand rested on a stolen map, now decoded thanks to her implanted data. The hidden lab was deep in the mountain forest, covered in thick fog and static fields to block scanners. But Lyra could feel it. Every step closer. Her body trembled, not with fear, but with awareness. Her bones remembered the floor. Her skin remembered the cold. And her heart remembered the cries of the others still trapped inside. As they reached the hidden entrance, Daniel looked at her. "You sure you want to go in?" Lyra nodded. "I'm not here to run anymore." Goran stayed behind in a cave nearby, keeping comms open. "Be fast. If that place still has auto defenses, you won't get a second chance." Daniel placed a small explosive on the side door, counted down, and dash boomed. The steel door flew off its hinges. They entered. Inside, the air was dry, still, and haunted. Walls were covered in dust, but the lights still worked. Faint humming came from the floor's generator, still alive after all this time. Lyra's fingers brushed the wall. This was my cage. They passed broken machines, shattered tanks, and medical beds with rusted straps. Then they heard it. Whimpering. Daniel froze. "You hear that?" Lyra's eyes widened. She followed the sound down the hall, past locked rooms, until they reached one final chamber. Daniel opened the door slowly. Inside were 3 children, 2 alien hybrids and 1 full alien girl. Dirty, thin, scared, but alive. Lyra dropped to her knees beside them. "You're safe now," she whispered. "I know your pain. It's over." The kids didn't speak, but one of them grabbed her hand tightly and wouldn't let go. Daniel looked around. "This place needs to burn." Lyra nodded. They gathered data drives, medical logs, and proof of the crimes committed here. Daniel placed charges around the facility while Lyra guided the children out. At the top of the hill, Goran waited with an AVAC ship. As the sun rose, behind them, the lab exploded, a tower of fire and smoke rising into the sky. Gone, erased. But this time, by the hands of those who survived it. Later on the transport ship, the kids slept in warm blankets. Lyra sat quietly, staring out the window. Daniel joined her. "You saved them," she smiled faintly. "No, you saved me. I just finished what I couldn't do before." He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "What will you do now?" Lyra turned to him. "They made me to be a weapon, but I choose to be a shield now." She looked back at the sleeping children. "They'll need someone to protect them, teach them, show them what kindness is. That's who I'll be," Daniel grinned. "Sounds like a guardian to me." She nodded. "Not Subject 43 anymore." He smiled. "Then who are you?" She thought for a moment, then said softly, "Lyra, just Lyra." Far across the galaxy, in a deep chamber of the same organization that made her, a warning light blinked. Subject 43. Status: awakened mission. Unknown threat level rising. But no one pressed the alarm, because the ones who knew her were already gone, and she was free.